Separate the art from the artist. It's an easy thing to say, but sometimes it's not so easy to do.
2019's Captain Marvel follows the adventures of Carol Danvers, played by Brie Larson. At the beginning of the movie, she is brainwashed into believing that she is working for the Kree Empire. Her battle against the shape-shifting Skrulls leads her to 1990s Earth. As she works alongside Agent Nick Fury, she recovers her lost memories, and realizes that she gains superpowers from a Lightspeed engine experiment. Set free of her amnesia and the implant holding back her powers, she is able to become Captain Marvel. The movie is okay. It's not the best, nor is it the worst among the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The movie has a lot of charm, but also a lot of stumbling. There was some obvious recruitment material here for the US Air Force, and the movie's attempt to center on feminism comes off very surface level. But for the most part, it was entertaining, though in a lower-key way when compared to other Marvel movies. I don't really have strong feelings for the film. I have moved on from that movie and evolved. I have transcended into something greater. That being said, it is worth learning from the past to understand our present and future, of which I can see all of. Back in 2019, for a certain online collective, Captain Marvel was recognized not only as the worst movie in the MCU, but also the worst superhero movie ever. The reason has very little to do with the movie itself, and more to do with everything else surrounding it. The source of this hatred can be traced to the 2018 Women in Film Awards. At the ceremony, Brie Larson gave a speech about diversity in film criticism. Quote, "I don't need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. I want to know what it meant to women of color, to biracial women, to teen women of color." Reactionaries immediately jump on this quote, highlighting that Larson was discriminating against white men. However, when quoting the speech, they seem to forget a key point of clarification. Quote, "Am I saying that I hate white dudes? No, I'm not. I'm just saying we need to be conscious of our bias and do our part to make sure everyone's in the room." That last part, however, did not matter. The first part, talking about white dudes not having the best perspective, was all the ammo required for the anti-woke culture warriors to take aim. They were already targeting the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it became clear that not all the leading heroes would be white and or male. They were already bitching about Black Panther being racist against white people for addressing colonialism. They were already bitching about Ant-Man and the Wasp being misandrous for featuring more women and pushing feminism, no matter how mild. But here's Brie Larson saying that she'd love to hear more from critics who are not white men, and that was practically a dinner bell for the anti-woke YouTubers. They pounced on the subject of Captain Marvel and Brie Larson, milking every ounce of rage that they could find for these topics. This ranged from critiquing Brie Larson's facial expressions in interviews to misreading how ticket sales work. So many channels profited from this stirred up outrage. None, however, milked this outrage harder than Jeremy Hambly, aka the quartering. Jeremy has a very long and gross history that was covered extensively in a video by June the King. Based on that video, here's the short version of his background leading up to his coverage of Captain Marvel. Jeremy's online presence has shifted frequently as he attempted to monetize his interests. He spoke about RC cars, and when that didn't pan out, he shifted to claw machine games. And when that didn't pan out, he shifted to Magic the Gathering. And when he was eventually kicked out of that community for being a creep, he delved into the then profitable pit of bitching about the culture war. The coverage from the quartering was typical of the conservative-brained YouTuber. You know, bitching about wokeness in movies, video games, and just life in general. Garden variety anti-woke topics with the thinnest possible research. However, the goldmine for the quartering was Captain Marvel, and more specifically, Brie Larson. Let us bear witness to his popular commentary on Captain Marvel, and try to figure out what made Jeremy worth listening to.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and I asked what you might want to see today, and this will probably be a little bit different of a video. I don't suspect I will hardly ever do trailer reactions because, well, I'm assuming they just get struck. I'm not sure how this is even going to work, but I'm going to try it.
This is what my viewers wanted, Jeremy states innocently. Little success has been had with any of his other YouTube endeavors. Chase the trend and you will find the lucrative. If there were no riches to be had, no eyeballs to attract, then it must be the fault of the audience.
You guys let me know that the Captain Marvel trailer was out, and I have to admit I have not watched it. I figured if I'm going to do reaction, it's got to be live. It's got to be in the moment. I also have to admit that I really dislike Brie Larson. I think she has a habit of having the same bored, like middle-aged mom at the grocery store look on her face.
There are no examples given. It's a shame, really. There are many films she starred in previously to choose from. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, 21 Jump Street, The Spectacular Now, The Gambler, Trainwreck, Room, Free Fire, Kong Skull Island, The Glass Castle. So many examples, and yet not one is cited to point out her boring acting.
I don't suspect she'll be super exciting in the role of Captain Marvel, but I don't know. I'm willing to give the film a shot. I'm willing to separate the art from the artist.
He would not, in fact, separate the art from the artist.
Okay, so it's a blockbuster, so
War is a universal
the 90s, roughly?
Yes, Blockbuster Video was at its peak in the 1990s. I too recall the video store from my youth. Good catch, Jeremy. We can both identify a retail store from our childhood. In this moment, we are not so different.
I know a renegade soldier when I see one.
There's that look. There's that. I thought Top Ramen was on sale, but when I got to the register, it was a different price. Can I get one of the stock boys to give me a price check on Top Ramen?
We are now different. I do not get the joke about Larson's curious and concerned look being akin to a middle-aged mom bored at the grocery store. If she were bored, why would she be taking note of her surroundings and the people around her? Wouldn't a bored individual not care about such observations? Where are you getting middle-aged mom from this woman who is not even 30 when stepping into this role? Such a lackluster attempt at humor, and all just to say that he doesn't like the way Brie Larson looks, which he proceeds to mock again.
Space.
There it is again, the exact same look.
Again, we are not the same.
Big car chase.
Oh, that looks really cheesy. The CGI looks kind of old, low budget.
This CGI looks old, he argues, without any comparison.
Oh, they made him look young. Looks like they're using CG on his face to make him look younger. It's something that Marvel's done before. Looks pretty good.
This CGI looks good, he says, citing one previous example and not comparing it. What an easy job he has with this reaction. This CGI is bad, and this CGI is good. Like and subscribe, please.
You're not from around here.
It's hard
A
to
smile.
explain.
A half smile.
Ah, yes. Women should smile more. Why does Brie Larson not smile more in this movie trailer? This is not considered sexist in the mind of a man like Jeremy.
I keep
There's a look. There's the, are these cantaloupes in season? Have any customers returned these cantaloupes? Or perhaps this lady in front of me is using a check to pay for her groceries.
Why bother coming up with different jokes when you've already got gold like this?
But what you have here is basically a movie with what appears to be a decent but not big budget. And you have a character that most people don't have any idea of who she is.
A reminder that hardly anybody knew of the Guardians of the Galaxy before that movie came out and became a hit. The Quartering treats this introduction as a negative against the movie, as though it wasn't meant to be an origin story. You know, like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and Black Panther. But I guess now Marvel should just stick to making movies based on superheroes that everybody is familiar with.
Brie Larson is aggressively mediocre.
And what is so aggressively mediocre about Brie Larson?
There's that same look.
Oh yes, the way she looks. That old chestnut.
There it is again. It's the same look every single time. Brie Larson is boring.
As if your commentary on her expressions is any more entertaining. The pattern is emerging here, a repetition of the same point about Brie Larson's appearance. There is little divergence from the argument he made the moment Larson appeared on the screen. He's just repeating himself and milking this bit that wasn't all that clever or funny to begin with.
A lot of people are saying that, look, this is the new Avengers. It's going to be Black Panther, which turned out to be a 8 out of 10 movie, I thought. Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. Captain Marvel, which looks like it's going to be a hard 6.
What an odd metric. I would personally consider 8 out of 10 to be a good movie and 6 out of 10 to be more okay. Then again, as you'll see throughout this video, numbers are not exactly Jeremy's strongest subject.
If I had to call it right now, critics will give it a 95% because my woman.
But Jeremy was wrong. Captain Marvel's Rotten Tomatoes score was 79%. And ironically, several of the positive reviews were rated roughly at 6 out of 10 or a B-. Not that it matters. The Quartering never really delves into these topics. He's just here to react to Brie Larson's same face with the same jokes over and over again.
And fans will probably give it like low 70s.
He's wrong about that too, but for a much different reason, which we'll get to later.
But normies might actually still like it. It just depends.
Depends on what? You don't provide anything to back up your predictions. You are just throwing out random guesses in the dark. There is no skill in doing this, and this is getting boring and repetitive. So let's just skip to his final thoughts.
It is about what I expected. I'd have to say, beginning to end, the biggest plus of that trailer was the soundtrack. I thought it was pretty good, but that's pretty standard for Marvel, just like the constant epic soundtrack in front of everything. But that went well. The cuts, like just examining the actual cinematography of the trailer, the cuts were well timed with the music. It didn't really paint any picture. It didn't make me want to go see it. This is the same actress, by the way, who publicly shamed a TSA agent and said, I merely smiled at a TSA agent and he asked me for my phone number. To live life as a woman is to live life on the defense. That's not the type of thing that I would expect a superhero character to say.
That's not her character, though. That's Brie Larson. You do know that Brie Larson and Carol Danvers are not the same person, right? Also, what happened to separating the art from the artist?
That's not the type of thing that I would expect a superhero character to say. I can suspend that.
You didn't.
If they make her super OP, that's going to be dumb. If they don't spend any time building her origin, that's going to be super dumb. And it does look like they've woven in, they're going to use flashbacks probably to weave in some of her origin story. But it looks like the majority of the film is like she's already got her powers. She's on this planet.
You might think it's unfair to criticize how much the Quartering gets wrong in his predictions. I do not expect him to be some Nostradamus of Marvel movies, but he's offering so many guesses built on so very little information. And if his accuracy is so far off in the bulk of his many estimates, then it doesn't sound like his words hold much value.
The trailer itself, to me, has no feeling. It's just kind of a hodgepodge of special effects that look like they belong on the CW or Netflix. I don't blame, obviously, Brie Larson for that.
There was no need to clarify this point. Why would it cross your mind that Brie Larson is to blame for the movie's special effects? If you have to say that, it really sounds like you're trying to blame the majority of the movie's problems on her.
But what's going to be hilarious is now, if you've never noticed, that like annoyed mom at the grocery store expression that Brie Larson has in real life all the time. And apparently throughout this entire film, you're not going to be able to unsee that. It's going to be in your mind every time you see her on camera. She's going to have that same mildly annoyed, mildly elitist look, like my kids are on the honor roll and your kid, I saw your kid eating dirt kind of look.
If only I could see the world through Jeremy's eyes. Maybe then I'd get this mom joke that only sounds stranger the more he repeats it.
I'm not expecting a lot out of Brie Larson in this role. I think if anything will hold this movie back, it will be the special effects budget. If it looks cheesy, that's not going to help it. And Brie Larson is going to hold it back. It probably won't be the story. I don't know who I would have cast instead of her. But she sucks.
And there you have it. Brie Larson just sucks. He can't cite her previous performances to stress why she's a bad actress. And he can't even think of a better actress for the role. All he is focused on is hating Brie Larson. And isn't it easy? The lack of effort it took to make this video, which garnered over 200,000 views, is just galling. Why it's enough to make one consider going down that path for how such lazy analysis is rewarded. Would you like to see that other reality where I went down this dark path? What's going on, everybody? So, Terminator Dark Fate. I looked at this trailer, and the special effects, well, they look okay, but not really. I mean, there's some cool Terminator stuff, but like, there are so many shots that look like 90s special effects. Not like, Terminator 2 special effects from the 90s, but because those were good. But like, cheesy, bad special effects that you'd see on television. And I can't blame all of that on Mackenzie Davis, obviously. I mean, I can't. But I can blame everything else about this movie on Mackenzie Davis. Because Mackenzie Davis said in this interview for some movie I've never heard of that being a female and a mother is like a war zone of shit. Which, like, it's not. I mean, women have it easy, so she's just lying. I mean, I've never enjoyed her work. I think she's a terrible actress. Like, with the role in... well, like everything that she did, and you just look at her, and she has this look of that tired, lazy employee at McDonald's. You know what I mean? You do. I mean, just look at her. She just has that face that says, "Please don't special order. Just get the Big Mac so I can clock out. I don't want to be dealing with customers right now." And you can see it. I mean, I can't buy her as a super soldier in this Terminator movie, but I'm sure everybody will just say she's great just because she's a woman, because girl power and all that. And I'm gonna watch the movie because I need to make content. Because I like the Terminator movies, but this is gonna be so bad because, well, Mackenzie Davis just sucks, and she's so boring. I mean, I think this movie's gonna suck. So just let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll be posting 2 more videos later today about Mackenzie Davis. The quartering is unable to separate the art from the artist, contrary to his declaration. He contradicted himself in his reaction to the Captain Marvel trailer. He then doubled down with this rant about how Marvel actors should just shut up. Jeremy got mad at Chris Evans for voicing his disgust with the Trump presidency, but he didn't really have the best retort.
Well, fans who follow Evans on social media likely know that he is an outspoken critic of President Trump. He recently appeared in the March for Our Lives hilarious commercial where he said the 2016 election, quote, turned out poorly. He also criticized rapper Kanye West's pro-Trump statements by saying there's nothing more maddening than debating someone who doesn't know history, doesn't read books, and frames their myopia as virtue. Yeah. We know you pay for Grammarly, Chris Evans. Congratulations. So what is the implication?
It is apparently woke to have a more extensive vocabulary. How elitist. Now, of course, Jeremy's primary focus in this video was Brie Larson's aforementioned speech on film criticism.
And then you have actresses like Brie Larson, who might have been great in her upcoming role, but is quoted as saying things like, I don't want to hear from film critics, or I want to hear from film critics who aren't white dudes. Quote, I don't need a 40-year-old white dude. Tell me what didn't work in About a Wrinkle of Time. Well, let me tell you something, Brie, Captain Marvel, who recently had her backstory rewritten to write a man out of it. I wonder why that is. I wonder if that could have been a request from Brie Larson. One wonders. We don't care. We don't care what you have to say about politics. Given the option, you should pass on these questions.
Well, you sure seem to care, considering you had to make a rant video about it. Also, this wasn't a question. It was her choice to talk about this in her speech. A speech, mind you, in which she clarified no offense to white guys. She just wanted more diverse voices in film criticism.
Because you are abusing the intellectual property of Marvel to gain a platform, and then you use it instead of being a friend of the fans, who are, unfortunately for Brie Larson, a lot of older white dudes. Why won't you just shut up?
The same could be said of Jeremy. We get it, dude. You don't like it when an actress speaks out against the gender bias in movies and movie criticism. But notice how Jeremy doesn't counter Brie Larson's claims. He doesn't want to disprove her, he just wants her to shut up. Because it's far easier to just ignore systemic sexism than to address it.
I wish it didn't affect me in the way that sometimes it does, and I try. I really do. To separate the art from the artist. But I know at the end of the day where my dollar is going when I go to the cinema or when I buy a DVD. And I, in good faith, cannot. So Captain Marvel might have been an amazing movie, but because Brie Larson is an absolute garbage human in real life, I won't see it.
Not only is Jeremy not separating the art from the artist, but he's setting up more standards he won't follow. Jeremy is right in the sense that if you don't like Captain Marvel, you shouldn't go see it, so you don't support it at the box office. Unfortunately, there's another angle that Jeremy didn't consider, and that's advertising. When the Quartering consistently talks about Captain Marvel, he is essentially giving the film publicity by ensuring it dominates the conversation. Even Jeremy lets slip in this video the problems of how much personality he has attached to a comic book franchise.
And because nowadays, whoever plays the particular character is so closely tied to their fantasy world one, as a fan, I can't separate the two. Maybe that makes me a pathetic man baby. Maybe. But I can tell you, you're not going to get my $15 to see your movie.
Jeremy may not have paid for a ticket, but he definitely paid Captain Marvel in attention and free advertising. Because following this video, the Quartering started posting consistently about Captain Marvel and Brie Larson. And these videos not only became less thoughtful on the topic, but also very creepy and gross. In this video, where he brings up how Larson hates white guys again, he comments on her body.
Brie Larson, this is back in June when I made the video, promises, I don't hate white dudes, but laments the lack of inclusion among film critics. Now, of course, the non-white dudes could be making different choices with their time, but of course, if they're not there, it must be because of some invisible barrier. Well, recently, she has now doubled down, as I predicted back in June, that these comments would come back to bite her in the non-existent butt, because Marvel is literally hiring a butt double. Now, I'm not even really a butt guy. I'm more of a boob guy. We looking for dat butt. All right, we're looking for dat butt.
Gross.
About a year ago, I started paying attention to what my press days look like and critics reviewing movies, and noticed it appeared to be, quote, overwhelmingly white male. So I spoke to Dr. Stacey Smith at the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative, and we put together a study to confirm that. Moving forward, I decided to make sure my press days were more inclusive. After speaking with you, the film critic, Valerie Complex, and a few other women of color, it sounded like across the board we weren't getting the same opportunities as others. Obviously, no evidence here.
She literally just cited a study to prove this claim, whereas you, a white dude on the internet with a browser open to look up any information, have presented nothing to refute this claim.
These are not my feelings. Larson would add that I am not saying... No, wait. Am I saying I hate white dudes? No, I'm not. I'm saying that if you make a movie that is a love letter to women of color, there is an insanely low chance a woman of color will have a chance to see your movie and review your movie. Well, here's the thing. Nobody really cares about movie reviewers, all right? They are a meme. If Brie Larson really cared about people going to see her movie, she'd be making sure the fans liked her. She wouldn't be putting out hyperbolic, divisive statements like there are too many men in any one position thing.
Considering Captain Marvel made $1 billion at the box office, I'd say the movie did just fine bringing in that audience. Also, if you don't care about movie critics, why do you care what Brie Larson thinks about them? It's just more manufactured outrage that Jeremy serves up for subjects he really doesn't know much about. And what little he does try to correlate here is rather baffling. Take, for example, his disapproval of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
You know, at the end of the day, a lot of people told me Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was an amazing movie. Well, the director openly supported Antifa, and I was the victim of a violent attack by somebody similar to that. So why would I want to give that person any of my time? Now, if the director hadn't said anything out loud and I never would have known any better, I probably would have seen that movie in the theater. So when they put their opinions out in the public and they want people to hear it, well, I can't unhear it. And part of what I do for a part-time job here is covering these things, okay? So
he couldn't be bothered to see Into the Spider-Verse in the theater because he thought he'd somehow be supporting Antifa, which is an unorganized movement that is literally short for anti-fascism, which, mind you, he associates with someone who attacked him, whom he assumes is Antifa. In other words, manufactured excuses for disengaging with media. He cannot go see Into the Spider-Verse because he hates Antifa. He can't go see Captain Marvel because he hates that Brie Larson said mildly mean things about an overrepresented demographic. All of this disapproval and disgust is built on a lazy foundation of conservative politics. How easy it would be to craft that outrage for popularity and profit. How easy it would be to go down that dark path. What's going on, everybody? We have a new Hellraiser movie coming out, and I gotta be honest, I didn't watch Hellraiser growing up, but I saw the box at the video store, and the one thing I remember was the monster dude, this pinprick man or whatever he was called. But he was a man, okay? You look at him and you just knew that's a man. But apparently we can't have men in Hollywood anymore because all their roles are being taken over by wee moms. But now it's gotten much worse because now the transgender wimwams are now taking over these roles. The transgender actress Jamie Clayton will be in the new Hellraiser movie and will be taking over as the leader of the what's it called, the Kenobites, whatever they're called. She's essentially going to be the new Pinhead Man or whatever, but I guess we can't call the character Pinhead Man anymore. We have to call it Pinhead Woo Man or whatever. I don't know, but maybe she's transgender, so maybe it's still a man. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it's more hateful to say that she's perfect for the role. I'm I don't know, I'm too confused, but what a way to piss off your fan base. The Hellraiser fans have been betrayed by having the trans agenda come in and ruin horror with this Jamie Clayton, who I've never heard of. I mean, let me check. What's she been in? She's been in Sense8, The Neon Demon, Snowman, The L Word, Generation Q. I haven't heard of any of these. So, just some nobody actress just takes over in Hellraiser. So once again, wokeness claims another franchise, and I won't be watching it. Let me know in the comments if I'm right, which I am, and I'll be posting 4 more videos today. And also, be sure to buy my branded coffee. It helps the channel so I can keep making these in-depth videos for all of you. That takes so much effort to make. So thank you all so much for watching this. As the Quartering's campaign against Captain Marvel continued, he extended his coverage into the box office. And this is like easy mode when it comes to debunking the saying of get woke, go broke.
Just 1 month ago, websites were predicting as high as $180 million opening weekend. $180 million. For a film that only cost $150 million, that would be massive, as this article puts it.
The article speculates that the box office could be anywhere from $140 to $180 million, and they were correct within this estimated range. Captain Marvel's domestic opening weekend was $153 million, but Jeremy needs to find some evidence that Captain Marvel will underperform.
Now, imagine that sad piano music in your head as we go down the reverse hype train here. We're at $180 million here. Then, still monstrous $160 million opening. That was just 2 weeks ago. Still on the hype train, $140 million. A little earlier, but numbers seem to be fluctuating.
No, Jeremy, the numbers weren't fluctuating. Did you even read the article before you clicked away? The article in your browser states that the opening gross estimate is between $140 million and $180 million. You know, like the first article you highlighted. The estimate has not changed. You're just lazily reading headlines to fit your narrative.
Now, Variety, $100 million. So we've gone from a high as $180 million to just $100 million, and we're not even done yet. This article was written 3 days ago. Enthusiastic word of mouth could propel that figure north of $120 million.
And Variety was wrong. The opening weekend was not $120 million, as it was $153 million.
We are down from early projections being as high as $180 million, down to now $120 million. And we're not done yet. It's interesting how, even though the number is nearly half of what it was, it's still heroic. It's still amazing.
Dropping from $180 million to $120 million is not, in fact, a 50% reduction, or even close to 50%. But the Quartering wants you to believe it is close enough. After all, he titled this video, Captain Marvel Plummets $100 million in Projections. That would mean there's an estimate that the movie would only make $80 million. And how did he even arrive at that far of a drop?
When you're dealing with a non-sequential superhero flick, anything in the 80 to 110 million is just fine. So we've gone from proclaiming it could do 180 million down to just 80 million.
Jeremy's claim that Captain Marvel might only make $80 million came from an article that was not making an educated speculation, but rather an acceptable expectation based on previous superhero movies. It's just Scott Mendelson writing that a superhero movie in the $80 million to $110 million range is not a disappointment. This is not a projection. That'd be like if I said, it's fine if it rains tomorrow, and your interpretation was, it's going going to rain tomorrow. Scott was not making an accurate prediction of Captain Marvel's opening gross based on any data, but even if he were, he would be wrong. So the quartering is already misreading so much, not just about Captain Marvel, but the movie industry in general. He especially reveals his ignorance when talking about ticket sales in this video. Captain Marvel tricking fans into buying tickets. Sad.
But let's see. Well, I want to see what I'm doing next weekend. I see what my wife and I want to go see at the movies. What? The only movie out next weekend, by the way, is Captain Marvel. Now you might be saying to me, well, that's odd. Maybe it's a glitch, or maybe no other movies are offering pre-sales. Well, we all know that's not true. Well, let's look at Saturday. Well, here's Ferdinand, but again, only Captain Marvel and Ferdinand. If I want to look on Sunday, it lets me see a ticket for Back to the Future, Ferdinand, which is another Disney movie, and Captain Marvel. Titanic. These are just old classics. So essentially, you can only buy tickets, especially if we look at Fridays, like the most hilarious example. Hey, dear, what movie do you want to see next Friday? I don't know. Let me go see what's showing. Oops. It's only Captain Marvel.
Oh yes, this particular topic made the rounds of the anti-woke bitching about Captain Marvel, and it's pretty easy to debunk. You see, movie theaters tend not to set all their theatrical showings in stone a week in advance. Captain Marvel, however, had pre-sale tickets on sale 2 weeks in advance, which is not abnormal for a big-budget superhero movie. What this means is that Captain Marvel screenings for that weekend had to be finalized in advance. And you can try this experiment out for yourself. Go to Fandango or any movie ticket purchasing website and look up showtimes a week in advance. Chances are high you'll only find pre-sale options for the biggest movie coming out that weekend. This does not mean that only Captain Marvel would be playing that weekend. There were other options, such as the previously released How to Train Your Dragon 3 and a Medea family funeral. There just weren't any other pre-sale tickets for new movies because no other movie wanted to compete with Captain Marvel, which makes sense. It's not like the movies 5 Feet Apart or Wonder Park were going to be ideal counter-programming, considering that they debut the following week. Worth noting is that the theater listings Jeremy displayed do include older movies, like Ferdinand and Back to the Future, likely because they were event screenings planned in advance. So it's ridiculous to claim that movie theaters were only showing Captain Marvel on Friday and nothing else. Wild if true, but it's not, and just ends up being another pathetic excuse to stir up more Captain Marvel controversy, which he did previously when talking about ticket sales in this video, Marvel denying refunds for Captain Marvel, and more hilarity.
So let me add this in. So you will see 2 different tickets, and one of them we'll see is a ticket for Alita, Battle Angel. And the other is a ticket for Captain Marvel, okay? Notice that below the Alita ticket, there is a blue hyperlink option to cancel your reservation, and that has been removed for the Captain Marvel ticket. So you cannot cancel your Captain Marvel pre-order ticket even 2 weeks before. Now, obviously, you might say, well, it's odd, it's weird that, this is like this because, maybe something's different. But no, this is the same theater, the same ticket service, same everything. But for whatever reason, you can't cancel your pre-order on Captain Marvel. They definitely don't want to do anything that would allow ticket sales to be hurt in any way. To me, it's kind of absurd that they wouldn't let you cancel your ticket 2 weeks before. But, can't risk losing any sales, I suppose. This is why you don't pre-order tickets, like ever, seriously.
Yeah, this is weird, but do you really think Marvel Studios has that much power to control AMC's ticket presale refunds? What evidence is there to prove this? If the cancellation button wasn't present, couldn't you still call or email AMC to verify cancellation? This claim that Disney won't let you cancel your 2 weeks in advance presale ticket needs a little more evidence than a missing button. This image of presale tickets was apparently sent in by one of Jeremy's viewers, and given Jeremy's track record of accuracy, I wouldn't exactly trust that lot. This just feels like a lackluster conspiracy theory. And if I were being more conspiratorial, I'd say this was done on purpose to justify seeing the movie. Such evidence would make it sound like, look, I didn't want to see Captain Marvel. I hate that movie, but after I pre-ordered my ticket, AMC wouldn't let me cancel. So now I have to see the movie. Disney made me do this. Damn you, Disney, forcing me to see movies I hate. Even after Captain Marvel debuted to a massive opening weekend box office, that did not deter the quartering. He could always just pivot and claim that Disney must have bought all those Captain Marvel tickets, which is exactly what he claimed in this video, based on the shitty right-wing website Bounding Into Comics, drawing on anecdotal evidence from Twitter.
New reports of empty theaters at Captain Marvel add to movie's controversy. New reports empty theaters. A number of Twitter users indicated that there were empty seats at a number of Captain Marvel showings over the weekend. The Captain Marvel report from my local theater is shocking. Out of 22 showings on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there were 570 empty seats from advanced ticket buyers who never showed up. While on Sunday, there were only 4 no-show movies for the movie all day. Now, this is fueling rumors that Disney pre-purchased tickets to inflate the opening weekend box office. I mean, you know, that would be a huge stretch in my opinion, but not totally impossible. In fact, it's not, basically you have shill bidding, right? You inflate those weekend numbers of opening weekend to build hype. It's a marketing budget expense. I could absolutely see that happening.
Of course you could see that happening, Jeremy. It's easy to make up bullshit when you don't look into topics and rely on Bounding Into Comics and Twitter for your information. The claim is even harder to buy when Bounding Into Comics said they spoke to a movie theater manager but did not reveal the manager's name, theater chain, or general location to protect anonymity. I'm sorry, but if your sources are a handful of Twitter posts and an interview with a theater manager who, for some reason, had to remain anonymous, that's not good enough. It's only good enough for uncritical lazy losers who want any excuse to hate on Captain Marvel. Ticket sales and box office conspiracies are so easy to stir up when people blindly accept them. How easy it would be to spread such rumors down a dark path. Okay, look, just buy the coffee, okay? It's fine. It doesn't taste like ass. I drink it myself, and it's just fine, okay? It tastes great. It does not taste moldy. Okay, so the Barbie movie is coming up, and I mean, you just look at this thing, and it has flop written all over it. So there's speculation that the Barbie movie could open somewhere between actually no, let's be real here. The highest it's going to be going is maybe 55 million. I mean, you know, you look at this movie and it's got SJW and feminism written all over it, and audiences are just tired of this woke crap. Nobody cares about movies like this. I mean, nobody wants to see Margot Robbie, okay? Nobody liked her in Birds of Prey or The Suicide Squad. I mean, she's awful. And nobody wants to see Ryan Gosling emasculated into a soy boy cuck, except Antifa and the radical left that hate to see white men who aren't gay. And it's directed by Greta Gerwig, some nobody director, probably hired because she's a wham bam, no thank you, ma'am. Everything about this movie just, I mean, you look at it, it just sucks. And I think it's going to be the biggest flop of 2023. I mean, I spoke with a movie theater manager, and he said the Barbie movie pre-sale tickets are just, they're just dismal, and nobody around the theater is excited for the movie. So, I mean, it's pretty clear from that there's no hype for this movie, and we've got proof of this on Twitter. I'll go over the Twitter reactions in the other 5 videos I got planned for today with some of my spicy takes, so stay tuned for that. Now, I'm sure at some point I'll get a comment about why I'm spending so much time debunking Captain Marvel movie conspiracies. After all, I didn't love the movie, so why should I bother defending it? Well, it's because I want to dislike a movie on merits that make sense, rather than making up bullshit. Misreading box office stats and citing anecdotal ticket theories do more to hurt an argument that a movie is bad. And even if read correctly, it still doesn't prove that the movie itself isn't good. This is why the Quartering is further out of his element when addressing movie reviews. Jeremy made multiple videos on Captain Marvel reviews, including this one in which he declares it to be the worst reviewed Marvel movie of all time.
The audience has given it a record low 36%. You'll also notice, I should probably refresh this because scores are disappearing right before my eyes often, 36%. But also the tomato meter has dropped down to 81%. Now I want to have just a moment with just us friends here, right? I mean, nobody else is watching or listening, and obviously, this movie's probably not a 30%. Everybody knows that. But it's also not a 100%. Everybody knows that. And when you look at a lot of the rhetoric around review brigading, right? A lot of it is about, well, it's everybody's review brigading. This is why it's that bad. And we should all, be deleting all of our poor scores. But is it though?
Yes, it is. Which you would know if you bothered looking into this beyond just reading scores and headlines. Actual research. According to The Hollywood Reporter, by 8 a.m. on opening day, Captain Marvel had over 58,000 negative audience reviews logged on Rotten Tomatoes. That's a ridiculous amount of scores to hit the website so early on opening day. If this sounds like a glitch on the website, that's because it was. Rotten Tomatoes acknowledged that this was an error in their system left over from the previous audience review score method. You see, it used to be that the audience could just rate any movie before it even came out. Realizing this format made it easy to review bomb movies before they were out, Rotten Tomatoes changed it so audience scores would only be allowed on release day. Unfortunately, the negative reviews made before this change were still recorded. Thus, thousands of reviews from people who had not seen Captain Marvel had flooded the audience score. When the glitch was corrected, these scores were removed because they didn't fit the criteria. But for people like the Quartering, this was read as Rotten Tomatoes removing negative reviews, even though they really weren't. They were just pruning the remnants of negative reviews from those who had not seen the movie yet. But those who previously made their negative reviews could just submit them again on opening day and they'd still be counted. This is not too different from how professional critics adhere to review embargoes. Now, I already expressed my personal review of Captain Marvel, but there's an obvious question that comes up here. Why didn't Jeremy make his own Captain Marvel review? That would be the best way to counter the positive reviews he disagrees with. What did Jeremy really think about the Captain Marvel movie? Well, the answer is irrelevant. It does not matter if the Quartering watched Captain Marvel. He has crafted his online presence by despising the movie and needs to hang on to that outrage for attention. Any deviation could risk his appeal to those who barely read headlines and want to feel rewarded for the rage that they feel against Brie Larson daring to question the influence of white men. It must be so easy to do all this, to just talk shit forever about movies you don't go out to the theater to see. But how easy would it really be if I had made that my entire identity? Well, I was going to see the Joker sequel tonight, but my friends apparently decided to see it without me. I mean, they didn't even message me or anything. And Megan Macaroni won't return my calls for some stupid reason, whatever. But anyway, I've got content I can cover anyway. So Joker 2, or Woker, as I'm calling it, has pissed off the fans. It seems director Todd Phillips just doesn't like Joker anymore. So he made it political and insulted the fans. Now, everybody hates this movie and it's bombing at the box office, and we all know how this works. You know, you go woke and you broke the bank. No, it's go woke, get broke. Yeah, that's the saying. So we saw this happen with Captain Marvel, terrible movie, and Barbie movie, which was terrible. These movies all suck because they pissed off the fans and they made it political. And just don't they realize that? You know, just it's people like me, you know, your average Joe, that makes your movies a success. You know, so you need to make me happy and not piss me off. Okay? Do you know how many people watch my videos? Because I'll tell you, it's a lot, but it's not enough. It's not nearly enough. Like, seriously, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you buying my coffee? Also, I host like 6 live streams a week. How come none of you are watching those? Like, do you know how much money I have tied up in all this? Great content like this doesn't grow on trees, you know. It just doesn't. Okay. What was I talking about? All right, Joker. No, Woker. Sorry. Yeah. So, this movie is dumb, and it's woke now because it pissed off fans, and I won't be seeing it in the theater, and not just because nobody will go see it with me, no matter how many times I message them. After Captain Marvel debuted in theaters and made a ton of money, Jeremy did not stop his obsession with Brie Larson. The hate train just continued chugging along. He attempted sarcasm in the video Captain Marvel Saved Me, a toxic male, all hail Queen Brie.
Look, I know a lot of you have been wondering where I am. Well, the success of Captain Marvel has led me to do some deep looking inside of myself, and where once was lost, now I am found. I see that I was just an angry white dude, and that Brie Larson single-handedly smashed the patriarchy, every Russian troll, and Russian bots, and incels too, apparently. I didn't know I was a terrible person until Brie Larson's huge, massive, undeniable success at the theater was thrust inside of my face, inside of my eye holes, repeatedly by every single major media outlet.
It's really just 12 more minutes of this, so I'll spare you all that. He continued to mock Captain Marvel over rumors of a lesbian romance in the video Captain Marvel to get female love interest Brie Larson endorses. See if you can get the joke he's trying to make here.
It looks like there is some rumor where now Brie Larson wants a lesbian romance for Captain Marvel and the MCU favorite. Interesting. Who could have foreseen this? Who could have foreseen this?
The joke here is that because Captain Marvel is pushing feminism, now we're going to get lesbians in the MCU, which Jeremy is annoyed by, but also doesn't care about. You know, like how he doesn't care about Captain Marvel, but won't shut the fuck up about it.
Hey, who Captain Marvel likes to get down and dirty with is really, I don't care.
Some of my gay fans, one of my gay fans reached out to me and let me know that when I said, what you do in your bedroom is your business, that's a little like it's a harken back to the way things were in the 70s or something. So I need to figure out a way to say that, like, I literally don't care. Maybe I'll put it that way. It's not important to me for whether or not someone is good or someone is someone I want to hang out with, or if somebody is, it doesn't matter to me. I guess love is love. How about that? Now, is it important to have in a superhero movie? No, it's not.
So gay stuff is fine, but not in superhero media. Because people like Jeremy don't care about homosexuality. That is until you include it, and then he's angry about it. It's also very telling that Jeremy says he wants homosexuality to be recognized more like it was in the 1970s. Worth noting is that homosexuality wasn't officially removed from the DSM until 1987. Homosexuality also wasn't decriminalized fully in the US until 2003. So Jeremy is pretty much arguing that the gays should get out of his media, using the "I have a gay fan" defense as a buffer. He can't be homophobic. His gay fan said so. All of this for a mere rumor that turned out not to be true. But perhaps the creepiest thing Jeremy did while talking about Captain Marvel was the video in which he showed off his new shed. Jeremy was so proud of the payouts from the Captain Marvel videos and showcased a newly installed shed as the fruits of his labor. The tour includes Jeremy showing off the Captain Marvel posters he hung inside. And this is strange, but it's all the more creepy when you consider Brie Larson's filmography in this context. Her Oscar-winning performance was for Room, a 2015 film in which she plays a character that is trapped in a shed with her young son, where she is also raped by her abuser. Jeremy never states that the shed refers to the movie, but even if the vile relation were a mere coincidence, this is still weird behavior. Imagine explaining this to someone not engaged with this online discussion. Imagine entering his shed, seeing the Captain Marvel poster, asking about its significance, and Jeremy explaining the association. Would you not feel creeped out by this? This obsession is so tiresome. I can't imagine what my life would be like if I became this pathetic. Oh shit, I lied. Here's what that would look like. I'm just so tired of this. I don't care what celebrities have to say about politics. So James Gunn says Superman will be political. We don't care, okay? Normal people like me hate when directors talk like this. And you know what that tells me? When you say stuff like this, it tells me I shouldn't go see your movie, Mr. Gunn. Now, I don't think... I don't want to see Superman now. Instead, I think I should make 6 more videos this week about why you suck and your movie is going to fail. I'm going to make so much money from this. Maybe I'll add another room to my house, and I'll call it the Gun Room, where I'll put up pictures of you because I love you. I mean, I hate you, or whatever. And you all better watch those videos because my channel is under attack, okay? The algorithm is burying my videos. So be sure to buy my coffee. Click my sponsor link for the VPN service. Click my other sponsor link for the energy drinks. No, wait, actually, they dropped me. Don't click that one. They're woke now. They make terrible products. So I'm gonna post like 4 more videos today. Drink 2 cans of water, and then meet with my development team to discuss how to improve this channel. So anyway, in conclusion, Superman sucks. Buy my coffee. Megan Macaroni, please return my calls. It was just a joke. I didn't mean it. It was locker room talk, okay? I'd like to point out that I'm only giving you the abridged version of Jeremy's coverage of Brie Larson. There are so many videos I didn't cover, mostly because they're just repeating the same talking points I already went over. The rough estimate is that there's 270 videos from the quartering that cover or mention Brie Larson. That seems like way too many videos, but hey, if that's what people want to see, you might as well give them what they want. But But there are some problems with turning this type of YouTube coverage into a career. There's a common problem that a lot of smaller channels make when they get their first video that's a smash hit. Instead of looking at the dynamics of what made that video so successful, they focus on the subject alone. So they figure, well, let's just keep making video after video on the same topic because that's where the money is. However, there are only so many times you can keep making that type of video before it gets repetitive, especially when you don't have much to add on the topic. For example, there's a video in which Jeremy discusses the disappointing box office performance of The Marvels. Do you really need to click on that video to know Jeremy's thoughts? Or can you make an educated guess based on his past Brie Larson videos? It all becomes so repetitious. It just makes me start to feel like Dr. Manhattan. It is 2019, and I'm watching Jeremy complain about a Disney movie because he doesn't like the lead actress's politics. It is 2025, and I am watching him complain about a different Disney movie because he doesn't like the lead actress's politics. History repeats, and nothing is learned. And I can't stress this enough, the quartering just really doesn't add much to the topic of movies. He's bad at reading news articles on the subjects and provides inaccurate summaries based on anti-woke vibes more than actually, watching the movie. You can only return to that well so many times before it dries up, and people tire of you bitching about the same subject day in and day out. Mixing up his content won't make much of a difference though, as Jeremy is terrible with finances. His many projects like making a non-political gaming news website, an anti-woke news website, and a shitty white label coffee brand have all blown up in his face. And these are not small projects. He has spent so much money hiring people for all these endeavors that he has had to rely on fundraising and loans totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars. I guess the Captain Marvel shed money just wasn't enough. He will also cry about how his channel is under attack and that he needs support and money, while at the same time boasting about blowing thousands of dollars on an RC racing track at his massive rural estate. So, grifting. The quartering is a grifter. He can't be honest about, anything, which explains why I couldn't find a review from him on Captain Marvel in the many videos I sorted through. You see, crafting a good review requires some personal honesty. You have to be open about how you feel and what thoughts go through your head while watching a movie. But Jeremy, as it turns out, is not a very interesting person in this regard. What little he is earnest about is, disgusting. He's openly admitted to having pooped his pants in a Walmart, a story he has described in too many details to be manufactured. He would get drunk on a live stream and he'd pee in his basement drain, which you could kind of hear in the audio. There was a live stream where Jeremy wandered around a Renaissance fair making sexist remarks at the women around him, stating that he wanted to put some babies in some bellies. And that alone is putrid, but what is easily the worst part of this stream is that he admitted that he couldn't connect with anyone in real life. And this included his wife, where he brought up how often the idea of hooking up with another woman and running away with her has crossed his mind. This is not a problem that can be fixed with better production quality, social media engagement, or barfing out shorts daily. The problem is internal, and there's a failure to address it when talking about movies. It's a dark path of disinterest that I'm glad I never pursued. Here's what that would look like. I don't care about this. I don't care about any of this. I don't care about Star Wars. Mandalorian movie, who the fuck cares? Nobody. There was a time that I might have cared about Star Wars. I might have even watched this movie, but now I don't even know. This movie sucks. It's probably woke. Who cares? I don't care. I don't care about anything except doing these videos with all of you. I don't care about my friends or family. They all make fun of me because of these videos. They're all like, oh, hey, is this movie too woke for you? Stupid idiots. I can't relate to anybody. Nobody wants to hang with me anymore. Ever since they just don't want to hang. As if they're any better than I am. I'm the better man, because I'll admit it. Okay, I'm real. That's why so many people watch me. I'm not trying to be liked by only talking about movies, TV shows, and video games that I enjoy. Okay, I'm real. I tell the truth. When something is woke and stupid, I'll let you know. So go buy my coffee, click my other sponsor links, which I can't remember right now and I can barely see the screen. So, what was it? Oh yeah, Mandalorian and Gogurt. It's woke trash and it'll probably bomb at the box office. Whatever. I've got to record a week's worth of shorts for the rest of the day, even though everybody hates them and so do I. But you know, that's YouTube. That's what you do. Gets clicks. It's all about the clicks. I hate this. Why did I throw so much money into this? I just wish I could run away. Just start over. I don't know. Just undo all of this.
Normally, this would be the part of the video where I try to wrap a movie into the central thesis. I could do that with Captain Marvel. After all, the movie is about a marginalized person being brainwashed and having her true power kneecapped, only to break that spell and humiliate her oppressors. However, I'm tired of talking about Captain Marvel, so let's talk about a good movie instead. 1992's Glengarry Glen Ross is a film about real estate salesmen desperate to make a sale. They don't sell by being trustworthy salesmen, but by lying and using underhanded tactics. Shelley, a longtime salesman, has hit a slump and will try anything to maintain his position. In his desperation, he steals some leads and sells them to a competitor. When this is discovered by the office manager, Williamson, Shelley attempts to make a bribe to keep Williamson's mouth shut. But it's too late. Williamson tells Shelley that he's going to turn him into the police for his crime. This is partly because Shelley stole leads, but also because he was given phony leads for his other sales, so it wouldn't be worth keeping him around to squeeze money out of him. So Shelley was set up to fail. When Shelley asks Williamson why, he gives the most genuine answer to why he is so cruel. Because I don't like you. This is the biggest problem with Jeremy. It is not just that he said some nasty things about a movie I only thought was okay, or that he spread misinformation in his coverage, or made poor financial decisions, or that he's a shameless grifter chasing trends. It's also because he's just unlikable. His personality is vile, and his most candid moments from live streams are disgusting. So many people have cut ties with the quartering, spanning from Sydney Watson to Geeks and Gamers to Stuttering Craig. And it's not because Jeremy was bad for business or that he committed one specific offense. He just wasn't somebody they wanted to associate with. Now, I often try to understand why people gravitate towards YouTubers like The Quartering for movie criticism, and it often has little to do with what they have to say about the movie itself. Most of the time, it's because the viewers found the content entertaining or relatable, because of how the information was presented, regardless of the inaccuracies. But it's really hard for me to see that relatability in these videos. Do you really see yourself in Jeremy? Even if you disliked Captain Marvel, is this obnoxious obsession warranted? Because I don't think it is, and this is coming from somebody whose profession is watching a lot of movies. Speaking of which, I'd also like to recommend the movie Room over Captain Marvel, because the movie isn't just about escaping the rape shed. It's also about learning to move on after having spent so much time in a place you thought was home. I can't help but feel that many former fans of The Quartering can relate to that feeling, with their regret, with their obsession, and that difficulty of growing beyond that point in their lives. And look, there's a lot to dislike about Captain Marvel. There's plenty to choose from. It could be the more muted performances that are in sharp contrast to the rest of the MCU, or it could be that the special effects were not as flashy, or it could be the simplistic way it handles the power of women, or all the Air Force recruitment propaganda. But you don't need The Quartering to justify your disapproval or even disengagement, because all of Jeremy's hatred for Captain Marvel has only led to more hatred, not just of movies, but of
himself. There is plenty of dirt on the quartering that I'm not going to cover in this video, mostly because I don't think it's necessary. I've already debunked his dubious coverage of Captain Marvel and how it hasn't been the path to acclaim, fame, and riches that he had hoped for. But of course, I realize that these citations might not be enough for some. I'm sure there's a contingent of diehard quartering fans who will openly admit, yeah, he gets some stuff wrong and he's kind of annoying with all the woke stuff, but you know, I still find him entertaining. And to that crowd, I'll give you the truncated response that doesn't require facts. I just don't like him. I enjoy movie discourse with those who are passionate about the medium, but the quartering is not and has never been that person. He has done more to poison movie discussion than add anything of value, and that is why this is the first and last video I will ever make on the quartering and his floundering YouTube career. Good riddance. Did something just... Nah, whatever.